My first guest is a seasoned comedian, actor, and writer who's appeared on The Tonight Show 40 times. He's performed for the Queen of England, and now he's on my show, so definitely a step up. Welcome my very funny friend, Kelly Monteith. Hey, Kelly.
It's good to see you,
Thanks for coming on the show.
Oh, my pleasure.
So,
Congratulations, by the way.
You've really done 40 Tonight Shows?
I guess. I never kept count, to be honest with you. But I think it's definitely over 30s. But every time I worked at a club that introduced me, it always seemed to go up.
Right.
Pretty soon I was like, I had more shows than Johnny ever did, so I've done more shows than
You got to work with Johnny and with Jaye.
Right.
So you've been through a couple eras with The Tonight Show.
I did. As a matter of fact, my second major TV, you remember Jack Parr came back?
Sure.
He came back to television after retiring and being gone for a long time.
Right.
And I did his first week back. But people think, I say Jack Parr, they think, oh my God, you've been doing this since the 1950s, which is not true, Sometimes it feels like it. But I did his show as well, so I guess I did all three of the hosts, the major hosts.
People forget that Jack Parr kind of created the Tonight Show format. And he'd come out and he'd sit on a stool and he'd have a monologue directly with the audience, and so he broke a lot of ground there.
And he famously quit on camera.
Right.
Remember, he famously...
Good night!
Yeah, right.
What a way to find out.
I know, he left you down there. Nobody knew what to do.
Right.
Yeah,
so I know that you did certainly a lot of American television, but you had series on the BBC in England as well.
Yeah, how weird. You shoot for Burbank and you hit London.
Right.
I can't figure it out. Because I'm from the Midwest, for crying out loud. But I did a chat show over there, the Des O'Connor show, and I don't know, I guess it hit some kind of nerve, because they were bringing American comedians over there.
Right.
As a kind of a weird thing to do, And they had me back the next year, and the next thing I know, they offered me a show.
Right.
And I ended up over there 6 years. I was on the show for 6 years.
You did series and specials and...
No, I did mostly my series, which I created.
Yeah, your own television series. Yeah. So modest about it. Had his own show, and he's like, I did a series.
Yeah, it was a little series.
Yeah,
nice. It's a little thing.
And, and this is, tell me this is not a joke. You performed for the Queen of England.
I did a command performance, and which was a weird sort of experience. I followed the Royal Ballet, okay? And I didn't know,
Perfect.
Yeah, sure. What an opening act, right? A nice opening act. I remember afterwards, there was a Russian woman that was the lead.
Yeah.
And I complimented her. I said, I really enjoyed your show. And she went, give her one of those. I'm standing there. Seems to happen to me a lot with these people, But I had to do my act for the two guys that put the whole thing together in a room.
Oh, right, yeah.
And then I went on stage, and they had a dress rehearsal, and I went out, and I said, okay, I'm just going to top and tail this. No, you have to do the whole thing. And I had the band in a pit. And you kind of rely on the band. You're going to make them laugh, right? So I had to do my bit, and of course the band laughed. By the time I got on, the band had heard it all. So, my net was gone. My net was gone.
That's right.
So, and I thought, how am I going to do this? I thought, well, I've got an audience full of people. I can't worry about the Queen.
Right.
Because you can't work to one person. So I figure I'm just going to work to the crowd, and if she likes it, fine. If she doesn't, what am I going to do?
But it's the Queen.
I know.
But what can she do? Can she off with his head and you're out of there?
Out of the country. Cancel his visa.
Pressure for a show to go well.
Call the Inland Revenue. Get him over here. Get this guy out of here.
So you're performing for the Queen.
Yeah. So I did, but the audience, I didn't do very well with the audience, but she liked it.
Oh, good.
That's what's so weird. Yeah, I know. So she talked to me afterwards when I met her, and we did the whole thing, and the ma'am, I think you call her. And I was kind of surprised by the tattoos. That was kind of threw me.
Usually those opera-length gloves cover them, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Born to rule,
Born to rule. Who would have known?
You're doing a show for people whose picture is on money. That's a little, that's a little intimidating.
You look so familiar. Haven't I seen you in my wallet?
Yeah, right. Oh, not enough, I'm afraid.
Right. Now, being a guy who's done series in England, you kind of the perfect guy. What is it? The LA
Press Club.
The LA Press Club gave you an award for a show that you do with my friend Paul Boland.
Yeah, my friend. Yeah,
called Britflix.
Yeah, Britflix with Paul and Kelly and $2 Chuck.
Right.
So. Well, it's just a way for sit around and drink wine and talk about movies.
Because that's what we properly lubricated to do that.
That's what we used to do anyway. So Paul came up with the idea. Why don't we just do this?
Let's film this and make it a show. Right.
So we did, and we, crying out loud, we won an award.
It went very well.
Yeah, and we've been nominated, I think, 2 more times.
Yeah, and you can find Britflix online, and if people want to look that up and see
episodes. Yeah, it's on the
so.
Anglophile channel.
Right. Now, being a guy who's done 40 Tonight shows, you've got a lot of experience being a guest.
Yes, I do.
So you must have learned something about being a good host. I'm ready for some tips.
I have tips for you.
I am ready. Okay.
First place, your chair is too low.
What?
The chair has to be higher than the guest. You want to make the guest insignificant as you possibly can.
Am I slouching?
Yes.
Hang on.
Yeah. You got something you can put it on there?
Hold on.
Oh, good. There you go. Perfect. Perfect. See? So,
how's this?
See?
Right?
Now it puts me in an awkward position. It puts me in a subservient position, which is what you want.
It allows me to maintain control over the interview.
Yes, it's like
what an illusion that is.
It's like Putin and Trump.
Okay. All right.
So that's one.
All right. So that's one.
Yeah.
So I'm generally taller than everybody, which is why I kind of lean down sometimes.
Yeah.
So I'm going to remember to sit up and be just a smidge intimidating, right? Just to keep the authoritative look.
Because if you get a guest that's as tall as you are, then you have to, boost your chair up a little bit. Yeah,
and then it becomes a game.
If you had LeBron James on here, you'd be, you'd
have to get a new roof on the studio.
Right.
So
that's now the second one is, and this happened to me. A host did this to me. I won't mention who, Letterman, but it's like in between the commercials.
Yeah.
You did my stand-up, did my panel, sat down.
Right.
Then the commercial, and the producer comes over and they go over notes, what the next guest is coming out.
Right.
So and he and I didn't talk. He was just busy doing stuff.
Right.
So right before they came back from commercial, right before that, he reached over and just kind of grabbed my arm here, just kind of with your hands.
Yeah, yeah.
He reached over and laughed. Made it look like we were real good buddies.
Yeah, sure.
And I just said something funny to him, and it just startled me.
Right.
But it's a good trick.
People have said that during the commercials, he doesn't pay any attention to them, but then right before they come back, put your arm up there. So right before, so we're coming back from commercial. Hey, we're back with my friend. See how believable that was?
Yeah, right.
Wait, do one more time. Put your arm up there.
Well, that's a little Jimmy Fallon.
Now it's Jimmy Fallon, right? A little over the top.
Yeah, you got to push your chair back.
Jimmy's an excitable guy.
Yeah, he is.
Okay, so comedy. You've been at comedy a long time. You're a comedy veteran. You've been around since before there were all the clubs.
Yeah.
And certainly the comedy channels. So comedy's changed a little bit since then.
I guess, yeah. It always evolves, and there's always new guys coming up. That's just the name of the game, and that's what you want. You want new takes and new attitudes and new approaches to it.
Right.
Same thing, basically, stand-up, same thing, but it's just different, alternate.
And you've packed something in your bag. I see you've brought with you.
Well, it's because I'm I like seasoned. The word seasoned.
Yes.
Rather
a
than
seasoned
veteran.
Comedian. Right.
Veteran comedian. You go from fast-rising young comedian to veteran like that.
Yeah, right.
So I'm older than you, so you have to, because I can't go, when you get older, you got to carry more stuff. You got to carry antacid, of course, extra glasses.
Right. Yes.
You got to have
several pairs of these because you leave them in a different room every time, right?
Defibrillator panels, you got to have those. What else you got to have? Oh, you got to have a magnifying glass for the menus with a little tiny print. That's very important. With a horn on it.
This is very helpful, although I don't quite understand that. You don't lose this, do you? Okay.
No, and then you
don't leave this behind at the restaurant.
No, you don't.
No, you don't.
You got anti-flatulent pills. And then you've got
something you want to tell me.
In case they don't work, you got room spray.
Well, this is one of the best-smelling shows on television, ladies and gentlemen. I don't want to brag.
So unfortunately, that's what I got to carry around anymore.
Well, hey, if we want to find out more about you and what you've done, and maybe peek in on some of the old shows, you've uploaded your old shows from the BBC,
I did,
right?
A lot of clips from my old BBC show on my website.
And we will find that at kellymonteith.com.
Right.
Is that what we will do?
Yeah.
Yeah. And hey, it's been great having you on the show.
It's a pleasure.
And
it's good. Congratulations.
We're going to take a commercial break, and then I'll come back and.
Oh, that's another trick. You have to zing me before you go to commercial.
I have to zing you.
Yes, you have to zing me, so I can't answer.
Right.
So, like if I was saying something like, "Oh yeah, I'm getting older now. I got an application to the Neptune Society," and
wouldn't be the first time you've died at sea, right?
And
we'll be back.
There you go.
My favorite 30 minutes of every day is starting with my sauna. For a stressful day, this is probably one of the best things you could ever get. An amazing platform for natural healing. Oftentimes when people do the weight loss programs, they start feeling like a little yucky during it. If you create or use the infrared sauna, for instance, and you're detoxing along with the weight loss, You won't feel yucky. The weight will start peeling off. If you want to learn more about infrared technology, contact us directly. The information is on the bottom of the screen.
Hi, I'm Dr. Lee Aaron Keneally, and I have some exciting news to tell you. I have launched my book, The Cancer Revolution. Do you know that cancer takes 10 years to develop in your body? That means you have 10 years of opportunity to prevent and reverse early cancer. The Cancer Revolution. It will empower you to change your life and turn this disease around.
Being healthy and happy isn't always easy. Stress at home, at work, trouble sleeping, toxins in the environment. Even healthy foods can be lacking vital micronutrients due to chemicals and depleted soil. American Nutraceuticals' proven solutions can help detoxify, reduce stress, and guide the way to optimum health. Balance, restore, rejuvenate naturally with American Nutraceuticals. Available from leading healthcare professionals and at 888vitality.com.
Hi, my name is Tom Julian, the author of The Shepherd. You know, there's hundreds of thousands of people who have felt like the title character of The Shepherd, Tony Castanelli. Alone, no family to count on, friends are becoming few and far between. But God has a way of looking down on those lonely hearts and somehow in His own beautiful way bring people into our lives who can help us find the direction and purpose that we all need and the happiness we all desire. This is that story. It's a simple read, but it's an inspiring moment. Buy yours today.
Patients ask me every single day about water. But water from your tap? Let's get real. Please, please take care of yourself, save yourself by getting Echo. This machine will put in the activated hydrogen molecule that stimulates the anaerobic organisms that we now know has everything to do with your life. Do yourself a favor, get good clean water powered with Echo.
My next guest grew up on the Carnival Midway and became one of the original clowns to portray that famous icon of advertising, Ronald McDonald. He proudly calls himself a carny, and as a performer, he's known to many as the king of sideshow comedy magic. Let's say hello to AJ. Hey, AJ.
Hello, young lad.
Hello. Thank you for coming on the show.
By the way, this is a new handshake. Yeah, it's Ebola.
Maybe that's what they know on the Midway. But, but you actually grew up on the Midway, and we've all been to a carnival. We've played those carnival games. They look a lot easier than they are.
They are that. As a matter of fact, my father had those 3 milk bottles that you tipped over with a baseball.
Right.
It was Bemidji, Minnesota. It was about 4:30 in the afternoon. From nowhere comes a tornado. A real tornado.
Right.
Tipped over the Ferris wheel, moved the tilt-a-whirl a quarter of a block away. And the only thing left standing on that whole Midway were those 3 bottles.
That explains why people spend about $100 to try to win a tiny stuffed animal, right?
They're not tiny, they're big, you just can't win them.
That's right. Yeah, you buy 3 big ones and you have them for the rest of the carnival, right?
You know, it's funny, I every once in a while we'll stop at a thrift store and there is a perfect piece of plush. That's what they're called.
Right.
Because when people get them, they will take them home and put them on a shelf. They're in perfect condition.
Right.
It has been said that when people get a divorce, they'll give up the kids, the house, but that big piece of plush at a time when they were young and in love, and he won that for her.
Yeah, great memories. Yeah, and that's why we go to the carnival, right? To make those memories.
You go to the carnival to see people on it's called a tip, is a bunch of people, and the ballet is the ballet. And what you want to do as the crowd is going by, you must stop them. This is the best way.
Right.
Are you crazy? What's wrong with you? I would never do that. And by the way, kids, never try any of this at home. Always go next door. Your parents can sue those people.
AJ, I know that you grew up on the Midway, and you've spoken about this many times, because I know you also worked in the corporate arena, and you've given keynote speeches as well. And one of the things you talk about is that you didn't learn to read until you were an adult, because your education, you didn't go to regular school, right?
Right. Well, once my father died, and I was adopted out to carnival people, but that was the end of school. Because, and again, I'm 12 years old, and we'd come off the road in September, and we'd go to winter quarters. Now, at winter quarters, it was in Red Granite, Wisconsin, and the only thing left standing after the 1936, it was a quarry that built, that produced every tombstone for the state of Wisconsin. And they were blasting, they were already 5 stories down that those trucks had to go to, and they were blasting, and boom, they hit a spring. And it filled within 2 days. Wow. And down there were steam shovels and bulldozer steam shovels. They don't even call them that anymore. But at the end of the day, that bank, the town just moved away. And then my old man bought it, and all that was left was a 3-story red granite bank. We lived on the 3rd floor.
Wow.
And right out the back window, or right on the foot of the, all rides didn't work. There's a treasure of roller coasters and stuff all down there. But they would come off the road and pull a truck and a horse inside, unhook the truck, leave the horse inside there, unload every bit onto the floor, weld it, paint it, put it back, wrap it with canvas, set it in.
It goes back to the Midway.
That was school.
That was school, right.
That was school.
Right.
Because I lived there. And,
right.
And you were taught, and I would run things. The best thing that happened to me is I became, I first started on a stupid little pick out a fish, but once I found out you could make a living with being a talker, I went right to Sideshow.
Right, one of the carnival barkers, right?
Yeah.
Sideshow barkers,
Don't
right?
use that word.
Don't use that. Which one?
Barker.
It's not a barker.
No,
Okay.
you can't use that. It's a talker.
It's a talker. It's a talker. Okay.
Yeah, you can get killed using that word on the Midway.
Okay, well, I will not say that.
Unless you're going to be really out there going, roof, roof, roof. No, that's a barker. Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay, so you're not only a talker, you're a writer. And I have your book, which, by the way, I know you're a talker because it's available also on
and look
CD.
who reads it.
And it's read by Penn Jillette of Penn and Teller.
That's 50 years of friendship.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. He's got a real fascination for the carnival. But first,
yeah, he does.
Before we talk more about that, tell me about this book, your book, The Golden Rule of Schmoozing. First of all, tell us, what is schmoozing?
Well, first off, and I talk about that right away in the first chapter, that it is not about conning anybody. What it's about is your first encounter with anybody should be something nice. Like, pockets are generally full. I will come in and, by the way, do you guys like balloon animals? I love those. Somebody makes me one of those. Okay, now, I come in bearing tchotch.
Tchotch. What is tchotch?
Tchotch is any giveaways you could. I just went to a rummage sale where I found a big coffee can of Allen wrenches, and every time I go to a gas station, I have so many. You want some? You come. My car is loaded with tchotchkes.
Right.
All right, and that's the best come-in the world.
Right. You show up with something to offer.
Yeah.
Right. Now, your book, the subtitle is The Authentic Practice of Treating People
Others
well. Right. It's about being authentic with people and giving before you get, right?
Yes. It has nothing to do with conning people.
Right.
It's all about, and if you go through all the different chapters, it talks about schmoozing kids. and your parents and the neighbor and how to stop a neighbor dispute. It's
Right.
all in there.
It's kind of the Carney version of how to win friends and influence people.
It's exactly that, which is the only book that I ever staggered through reading.
Well, I know that you have a really storied life, and those stories have been collected in a graphic novel called Carney Trash. Now, just tell me briefly, how did that term come about?
Well, it's funny. I love doing what I'm doing, and especially since my wife, who works at Apple, got me my own computer, and I'm a guy that barely reads or writes. But there's a wonderful thing called Dragon Speaks.
Okay. Well, we're gonna have to get some big money for them as sponsors, so let's not talk too much about them.
Well, Dragon Speak is you turn on your computer and say, "Good morning, dummy. Let's go to work," and right across. Read it back. Yeah. "Good morning, dummy. Let's go." And I wanted to write this comic book, and the lady said, "Well, all we're going to need is 7." I said, "I'm sorry, I got 17." She said, "Do it."
Wow.
And it's macabre.
Wow.
It is not a sweet little story. It's about a guy that gets hit by a meteor.
Oh, okay.
And now he can spot serial killers. End of the story.
Wow. So it's your typical growing up on the Midway
It's like
story.
a tutor for kids.
Okay, so this is partially fictionalized, because I'm guessing you were never hit by a meteor, right? Right.
No, I've seen them.
But a fascinating story, and 17 chapters to it, each in their own little graphic
and
novel,
that's number uno. And they teach you to speak Carney in there.
Do they?
And they also teach you the Carney's alphabet, which we would send notes to each other.
It's like its own little secret society, the people who worked on the carnival. Just before we go, just tell me about your tie, because I know that there's a connection between the picture of the Ferris wheel and this gentleman.
I love this. Here's your tutor, here's your education, here's what you'll go away with. This here was the first Ferris wheel ever, and it had gondolas on it all the way around. The most interesting, and this was in 1893, this man here is a bridge builder at the time. His name is George Washington, wait for it, Ferris. The Ferris wheel.
Yes.
First one ever.
Yes. Yes.
And I got to tear those down thousands of times.
And rebuild them in every town. And then just before we go, because I happen to know about this tattoo that you have on your hand, this is for a gentleman in the community of magic. He's very well known, Jay Marshall. So that's Lefty, and that was his puppet, right?
And if you're lucky in your life to have a mentor, this was mine. Jay. That was a 60-year friendship.
He had a glove, a white glove with 2 buttons on it, and he'd take the other part of the glove and grip it like this, and it would become a little almost rabbit-looking puppet that would talk to him, and it was beautiful and charming and wonderful and funny. And hey, thank you so much for being on the show. Oh yeah, right, Carnival. Okay, yeah, okay. Hey, my thanks to my friend AJ. Now, if you want to find out more about what he does, you'll find him at aj.com, and let me spell that for you, A-Y-E-J-A-Y-E. Right? Okay. Thanks for joining us on The Bruce Gold Show.